This fight with Poirier is trending bigger than the fight with you and Conor on pay-per-view. Imagine what you and Conor would do in another fight. Just saying. I'm just saying.
Ну, свой пик он давно прошел. У каждого человека есть свой пик. И он ее давно прошел. Так что должен был он со Спиналом драться или нет, это вопрос, может быть, будет всегда стоять. В данный момент, да, для меня Спинал лучший тяжелый мира.
It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the pride of Wigan, the one and only Tommy Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy, defending his undisputed gold, technically for the very first time against the pride of France, the French prince himself, Bon Gamin himself, the one and only Cyril Gane. These two have been going back and forth for the better part of 2, maybe 3 years. Well, this was the fight that we all thought was going to happen in Tom's official first title defense, and so it is in fact going to happen. Tom wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. That was the sense that we got when he became undisputed champion. He didn't want to wait for New York. Let's be honest, the tax is a little better over there in Abu Dhabi compared to New York for an Englishman, for anyone, if we're being 100% honest. And so he wanted to be active. He wanted to fight in October. He wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. It's closer to home, and so they oblige. And you'll recall a few weeks ago I said, it's looking like Magomed and Alex, October 4th. It's looking like Tom versus Cyril, October 25th. And it's looking like JDM versus Islam in New York. That would be the next pay-per-view. Now, that hasn't been officially announced. That hasn't been signed, sealed, and delivered. But at this point, I would be surprised, considering how the chips just fell earlier today. I would be surprised if it doesn't play out that.
So we're back to another round of MMA drama, and once again, it's not centered on fights or training camps. In his latest sit-down, he made some comments about Ilya Topuria, basically saying he's not buying what Ilya's selling.
Илья Топурия может быть?
Не, он хороший парень.
Да.
Пытается быть кем-то. Сразу же видно. Не, я не думаю. Интерес противостояний, стилей, там, бойцов, чемпионов, может быть. Но такого, знаешь, как нет. И Ислам тоже.
Возможно.
Then Islam chimed in with his thoughts. That's when Conor McGregor decided to fire back on social media with his signature style, raw, unapologetic, and razor sharp. His response had the entire fan base going absolutely wild. It was like watching Ghost from the past suddenly come alive, as if this old rivalry just woke up from years of hibernation. Immediately, everyone started wondering, are we actually going to see McGregor versus Khabib round 2? The energy was insane. Social media went into complete meltdown mode with reactions pouring in from everywhere. This could have been the spark that lit the fuse for another legendary promotional campaign. Then an old video surfaced featuring Dana White in conversation with Khabib, obviously trying his hardest to persuade him to return to competition. You could see the desperation in Dana's eyes, the hunger for this matchup, and honestly, who could blame him? This fight would shatter every record in UFC history. Fans who caught this footage completely lost their minds. Was this evidence of Dana secretly orchestrating some grand scheme behind the scenes? The speculation reached fever pitch.
This fight with Poirier is trending bigger than the fight with you and Conor on pay-per-view. Imagine what you and Conor would do in another fight. Just saying. I'm just saying.
When asked whether Khabib retired prematurely, both Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen gave the same answer. Absolutely yes. Their perspective was crystal clear. Khabib walked away while he was still operating at peak performance. He had so many potential fights left on the table, and he wasn't declining whatsoever. In fact, he was still evolving as a competitor. DC highlighted Khabib's fighting intelligence, while Chael emphasized how rare it is to witness someone exit at such an early stage. These weren't random commentators speculating. These were industry veterans who understood every angle of the business.
Oh, too soon. I thought Khabib could have been fighting today, and there's a chance, because I mean, Islam is a bit of an extension of who he was. But to know them is to know that when his dad passed, it took a lot away from him. And so when he decided, I'm going to do something different, you know, mom's like, hey, you and your father started this journey together. I don't want you to do it without him. If he made that promise, I knew it was over.
And I will tell you this, when the UFC started to negotiate with Khabib, they started adding zeros and commas and bigger checks and Conor Part 2. The UFC missed it. That wasn't the number they needed to change. The number they needed to change was a 155-pound weight class to a 170-pound weight class. You would have gone Khabib versus Conor 2. It wasn't that he didn't want to fight and he didn't want to fight Conor. I don't believe that. He didn't want to beat the scale anymore. And that's the one thing that the company did miss.
He retired too early.
Dana White shared his thoughts in another interview. He mentioned always respecting Khabib's choice, but privately believing Khabib had more magic left to showcase. Dana made it clear that if Khabib ever changed his mind, the door would remain wide open. But here's the reality. As everyone keeps pointing out, he seems completely uninterested in making a comeback. Regardless of external pressure, he's fully invested in developing his fighters, particularly Islam Makhachev, who's preparing for his upcoming battle. He's laser focused on his team, no longer chasing individual glory. He's transformed into the type of mentor who pushes his students relentlessly, elevates them to championship level, and expects a pint less than perfection. He's not concerned with his own reputation anymore. He's building it through their achievements.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в исламской карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Для меня, если я буду, например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Мадалины, для меня больше будет волновать.
Demetrius Johnson, the legendary Mighty Mouse himself, backed up claims that Khabib is one of the most demanding coaches in the sport today. He stressed how Khabib pushes his entire camp in ways most fighters couldn't even imagine. This goes beyond just grueling physical preparation, although that's definitely part of the equation. We're talking about strict discipline, precise organization, and constant mental conditioning. Khabib expects his athletes to match his standards.
I think we drilled after that, and then the next day they came back and it was even a longer grind session. I'm like, you guys do this every single day? He goes, yes, brother, for 8 weeks. Sacrifices. You want to be the best? I'm like, nah, I don't want to be the best. I'm done with that shit. Y'all can have it. But just to experience it, you know, and seeing what the best pound for pound fighter in the world feels like, and he hit me with that Darce 2 times.
They discussed the upcoming. Multiple analysts broke down Islam's recent performances and his incredible development under Khabib's mentorship. Jude examined Islam's technical skills and footwork, while Usman focused more on his psychological approach and octagon control. Both praised Khabib's seamless transition into this coaching position. They noted how Islam has elevated his game in ways only possible when training under someone who conquered the absolute summit of the sport.
Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Everything shifted when Khabib made comments about Jon Jones. He suggested Jones was beyond his prime, and those words created massive controversy. Obviously, Jones hasn't been active recently, and that statement triggered intense debates across social media. Some people supported the assessment, pointing to Jones's age and accumulated damage. Others argued that Khabib was completely wrong, insisting that Jon still has championship-level talent remaining. Regardless of perspectives, those comments ignited heated discussions throughout the MMA community.
Ну, свой пик он давно прошел. У каждого человека есть свой пик, и он ее давно прошел. Так что должен был он со Спиналом драться или нет, это вопрос, может быть, будет всегда стоять. В данный момент, да, для меня Спинал лучший тяжеловес мира.
Jones fired back immediately, announcing his intention to face Tom Aspinall on a massive pay-per-view card. That proposal sounded absolutely wild, but Jones was completely serious about it. He expressed genuine enthusiasm for that particular matchup. A clash between him and Aspinall on such a significant event had supporters buzzing with excitement. It represented everything dangerous, thrilling, and spectacular that MMA fans crave, though many questioned whether it could actually materialize.
So they've announced this White House UFC fight. What do you think about that?
I think it's exciting. Very exciting.
Can we expect to see you on the card?
I can't promise anyone anything, but I have very strong feelings that I'll be on that card.
But who would you take on? Who would be your dream opponent?
I would want to take on whoever's holding the belt at the end of the year.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Any possible names you think?
Well, no, I mean, as of right now, the champion is Tom Aspinall, but we'll see who's the champion at the end of the year. And I feel like it'd be only fitting to have an American guy fight for the championship that night.
Unfortunately, Dana White crushed those dreams pretty quickly. In his own interview, he explained why it wasn't a smart move. He viewed Jones as more of a liability than an asset at this point. The injuries, extended layoff, and uncertainty surrounding his condition all factored into the decision. Dana wasn't willing to risk a major card on a fight he couldn't completely trust. When Dana speaks with that level of conviction, it typically means the decision is already locked in. Jones claims he wants to be featured and says he'll fight whoever holds the title at that moment. But would you be comfortable with him potentially returning and reclaiming that championship, knowing you might have to face him eventually? It's not even enjoyable to consider.
About him winning the belt, I mean, I thought about him. I can't risk putting him in big positions in a big spot and have something go wrong.
Fair enough.
Yeah, especially the.
Daniel Cormier weighed in on the situation, and while he didn't completely agree with Dana's stance, he understood the reasoning. DC recognizes John's capabilities, but he also acknowledges current realities. Jones isn't the identical fighter he once was. Still, DC stated that nobody can question what Jones has accomplished throughout his career. Whether you admire or despise him, John's historical significance is undeniable, but that doesn't necessarily mean the UFC should bet everything on him right now.
I saw John Jones is back in the testing pool.
Yes.
Talking about going on the White House card.
Yes.
I think with his extensive criminal record, the Secret Service will let him on the White House grounds.
That's such a good question.
That's actually a good question. Well, we always have to pass background checks when Trump's there and he got the fight, so I'd imagine he will be. And I gotta be honest with you. All right, so listen. All right. No disrespect to anyone here. I love you guys so much. You can go to the White House and I'm positive you'll win, right? But if we really need an American to win, right, we gotta kind of send John Jones, don't we? Wait, seriously. Like, I mean, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't like him, but it's like, if we need an American to win, don't we just send the guy that always wins?
Yeah, no, he's going.
And he said, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And nobody tries harder than me. Are you sure John Jones doesn't try a little harder than I do?
I don't know. It's close.
The discussion intensified further. Luke Thomas also shared his perspective, and he completely supported Dana's position. He argued the UFC needs to focus on building fresh stars and progressing forward, not dwelling on past achievements. He praised the decision to support Aspinall, stating that featuring him in major contests represents the correct strategy. Thomas was unwavering in his conviction. He believes the future belongs to emerging emergent, not yesterday's heroes, seasoned pros.
Dana White for saying, I can't have John Jones on the White House card. If I was Tom Aspinall, I was like, he's not worthy to fight me. He's not worthy.
Yeah.
You just retired. You need to work your way back up and get a title shot.
I hear Dana's point on not letting John Jones in the fucking White House, 100%. Absolutely hear his point. I get it. You know what I mean? You don't want the first lady getting a black eye. So, weave, Melania, weave.
With the UFC fight in the White House, I bet you they'll put ice on Tom Aspinall.
Concurs. Plans are already moving forward for new fights involving Tom Aspinall. There's absolutely no mention of John Jones in any of those discussions whatsoever. You can clearly see the direction the promotion is heading.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the pride of Wigan, the one and only Tommy Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall, na. Tommy Aspinall, Tommy, defending his undisputed gold, technically for the very first time against the pride of France, the French prince himself, Bon Gamin himself, the one and only Cyril Gane. These two have been going back and forth for the better part of 2, maybe 3 years. Well, this was the fight that we all thought was going to happen in Tom's official first title defense, and so it is in fact going to happen. Tom wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. That was the sense that we got when he became undisputed champion. He didn't want to wait for New York. Let's be honest, the tax is a little better over there in Abu Dhabi compared to New York for an Englishman, for anyone, if we're being 100% honest. And so he wanted to be active. He wanted to fight in October. He wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. It's closer to home, and so they obliged. And you'll recall a few weeks ago I said, it's looking like Magomed and Alex, October 4th. It's looking like Tom versus Cyril, October 25th. And it's looking like JDM versus Islam in New York. That would be the next pay-per-view. Now, that hasn't been officially announced. That hasn't been signed, sealed, and delivered. But at this point, I would be surprised, considering how the chips just fell earlier today. I would be surprised if it doesn't play out.
When Tom Aspinall was questioned about this entire situation, he remained completely calm. He avoided trash talk or attempts to create additional drama. He simply confirmed his readiness for whatever comes next. He has complete faith in his abilities, and he's prepared for any major opportunity that presents itself. As the current champion, his confidence appears totally justified. Fans respect that approach, and it's a major reason why his popularity continues growing.
I better be careful, apparently. Yeah. I think I match up pretty well against him. I think I'm equally as fast as him. I move equally as well. The difference is I can grapple. I've got a lot of power. And I think that's pretty undeniable at this stage of my career. I've got a lot of knockouts on my record, mate. I have to touch you once, and I wasn't even throwing heavy tonight. I thought it was going to be a 5-rounder. I didn't mean to knock him out. I was pretty sure that that was going to be a 5-round fight tonight, and just takes one shot, mate, at heavyweight, especially with me throwing.
Bisping added still more to the hype. He stated his complete confidence in Tom's ability to defeat anyone, including established legends. This individual has tremendous belief in Aspen Saul's potential, and when someone of his reputation makes such a strong endorsement, people pay serious attention. It's obvious Tom is rapidly ascending, and he's doing it with support from the sport's most influential figures.
Take people down. He's done jiu-jitsu since he was about 15 years old. His dad is going to be on his case, and that's an absolute fact, saying, hey, you're not messing with this guy. Take him down, show him what you can do, show the world your grappling capability. Remember, Cyril Gane turned Francis Ngannou into a wrestler, okay? So he's a very, very credible threat on the feet. But of course, I do fancy Tom Aspinall to get the...
This entire storyline is absolutely insane, from Khabib's interview to Conor's social media response to the Jon Jones debate. It feels like we're watching Conor's posts, Jones's uncertain future, and Tom Aspinall positioned right in the center of everything. If you're enjoying this combat sports chaos and want to stay informed about every development, make sure you don't miss what happens next.